June 23 OT question. Is it you are referring, Chekita?
Yeah,
During June
yes, it
20,
is.
during June 21, Roman gave an antique vase to his daughter Petra. The transfer value for IHT purpose at the date of gift was 400,000 before any available exemptions. Roman had made no other transfers during his life. Drag and drop the correct amounts from the options below to correctly identify the IHT payable at time of gift in June 21 and on death of Roman in November 24. So if you ask me what is the amount of IHT payable at time of transfer, which is like June, that is null. Okay, because it is a PET. PET at the time of transfer is exempt. There is no tax on PET at the time of transfer. But if I talk about death tax, so uh, 400,000 is the PET amount, annual exemption of 2 years, which is like 394. 394 minus 325, um, 69,000, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Correct me, please, if I'm wrong. 69,000 into 40% IHT rate. So 69,000 into IH 40%, 27,600. I don't have the calculator. I'm using mental maths to calculate. If I'm wrong anywhere, please do let me know. Then I need to look for the time gap between the transfer date and the death date. Transfer date is June 21. Death date is November 24. So June 22, June 23, June 24, and June 25. So it's like more than 3, but less than 4 years, right? So it's like taper relief would be for 3 to 4 years, and 3 to 4 years taper relief is 20%. So that 20% of 27,600 is the differential would be IHT payable, which looks to me uh so if there is anything not clear in my overall working discussions, do let me know. Is your confusion sorted? That is the most important thing. And if the answer is yes, what was the exact confusion with you? Like you pointed out, maybe out of more than 200 questions, this one question, what was the reason in particular? ACCA, anything from your side? You are quite silent since I start. Okay, noted, Shakita. Sure, Samra. Melvin died on 6th March 2025, living in estate worth 2 million. His estate included a holiday home, in the UK worth 400, to which he left to his sister. He left the residue of his estate to his daughter and appointed a friend to act as executor. For each of the following individuals, select whether they will pay the IHT on the estate, suffer the IHT, or neither. It is possible to select more than one individual for the same answer. Um, Sister, neither pay nor suffer. Daughter, suffer. Executor, pays the tax. So now, Samra, on this, I like to understand what is to be exact your query. Like I marked the answer according to me. Now I like to hear from you.
सर इसमें सिस्टर को बिल्कुल नीदर क्यों कर दिया है? नीदर पेज नॉर सफर, उसको भी तो उसने हॉलीडे होम दिया है। मुझे हॉलीडे होम बहुत कंफ्यूज कर रहा है।
So it's not the holiday home which is causing zero tax. So the reason of zero tax is, just imagine here Melvin is like daughter, sorry, Melvin is like to sister. Sister, you will get 400 worth of assets. So it's not house to be precise. It's sister, you will get 400 worth of asset. Point number one. Uh, Daughter, is he guaranteeing any amount to daughter, or to daughter he is like, daughter, whatever is remaining you will get it. So in the will, even a small word really matters to adhere that. If he is like, daughter, you will get 1.6 million, sister, you will get 400,000. Okay. Whatever the assets are, we can name the assets, but this is the distribution. In that situation, if Melvin is going to guarantee or fix the amount to both, then tax will be divided, or when I'm using the word divided, I mean suffered. Then tax would be suffered by sister and daughter accordingly. Accordingly, as in we need to take a percentage, 400 out of 2000 and 1600 out of 2000. I hope you understand where I'm getting this 400 and 2000, right?
यस सर।
But since over here, Melvin is like, sister, you will get 400. Residue, the word residue means whatever is remaining. Whatever remaining means I'm not fixing, guaranteeing anything to daughter, let's say. I am like, whatever is remaining, you will get. So daughter can never ever claim, I get less, I get more, or the fill, or sorry, or the will is not adhered. So daughter will never ever be in a position to say that. Whereas in this situation, if sister suffers the tax, would sister receive 400? The answer is no. Sister will receive some less amount after tax, like net of tax would be some less amount. So in that situation, is the will adhered properly? No. Uh, Maybe your question would be, if Melvin is like, sister, you will get 400, daughter, you will get 1600, full stop. Total worth distributed between two. In that situation, how the will be adhered? So in that situation, will is contradicting to law. Then law will prevail. Law will supersede. In that situation, both sister daughter will not get the amount as prescribed or mentioned in the will. And you know, then the tax law is like, these amounts are before tax, because he didn't leave any room in the state to pay the tax. Remember, whenever we talk about IHT, we are like, paying IHT is suffer from a suffer perspective, it is mainly in according to question 196, it's mainly the Melvin who needs to suffer. But since he died and he like transferred the asset to his survivors, let's say in this example to sister daughter, so sister daughter on behalf of Melvin will suffer. But since Melvin is like guaranteed an amount or asset to someone with residue to another one, residue will suffer all of the tax, not the guaranteed one. I hope it's clear. Perfect. Um, ACCA, still silent. Any question? If no, can I request all of you to please log into your ACCA platform at your earliest, quickly? No more question from the exam kit. Can I close it now? I have already logged in at my ACCA platform. Um, do you guys have TX UK pre-December 25 mock exam in your exams? Quickly, please. I really don't want to attempt the question from my side only. So that's why I really want you guys to log in over here at your earliest so that we can do this particular question together. I'm waiting. Shakita, what about you? You logged in at ACCA platform, please? Please do it quickly. Thanks. Uh, Samra, you are in, like you logged in? ACCA? I'm not hearing anything from your side. Okay. Is the mock exam assigned to you already? Perfect. In that case, it means that we are good to start for the question, for the paper. Uh, ICCA dropped. Fine. Let's start the paper. Okay. Mm, is it asking to log in again? Should I press yes to start the exam? You guys are good to start with me? Perfect. I'm not looking towards the MCQs in the first instance. Rather, I like to focus more on the section C. So I'm directly navigating to question 31. You should assume that today's date is 1st March 2025. So I'm going to start the CRQs basically, which is my main agenda for the day. I suggest you guys to attempt the MCQs at your own. Do mark it at your own. And if you face any type of difficulty and if you're not clear with any of the answer, do let me know or do raise it in the group like we are not clear on the answer. Appreciate your support, advice on the answers, stuff like that. Okay. Now, if I look into the question, let's start the first CRQ question of the mock exam. You should assume that today's date is 1st March 2025. Jazz is the managing director of Melbic Limited and owns 100% of the shares. Malbec Limited has no other employees. Any implication of this line? So you guys should learn the implication of different lines as well. You know, the implication for me of this yellow highlighted first line is that uh, Mabel has no other employees. It means Mabel will not be eligible for NIC employment allowance because NIC employment allowance is only available to uh, is available to all type of companies except of two. One, when the director is the sole employee, and here I can see that director is the sole employee. Second, if for previous year your pension contributions exceeds 100,000. So in these two situations, it is not available, right? Um, Jazz will receive gross director remuneration of 35,000 and dividends of 70,000 from Melbeck Limited for the tax year 24-25. So Jais will receive director remuneration of 35 and dividends of 70,000. Just a sec. Sorry. Apologies. Uh, Jazz will receive gross direct remuneration of 35 and dividends of 70,000 from Melbeck Limited for the tax year 24-25. Jazz has no other income. Uh, if I read till here, the first thing which I'm thinking, he has director remuneration of 35 and 70,000 of gross personal pension contributions. 70,000 of, sorry, 70,000 of dividends. It means his total income is like 105,000. And 105,000 total income means he will not be getting the complete amount of personal allowance. Rather, it will be partially tapered. Okay. After adjusting for Jazz remuneration of 35 and associated employer NIC means like whatever amount they are going to quote, this is after deducting the salary as an expense and employer NIC as an expense. Mablec Limited has a forecast tax adjusted trading profit of 290,000 for the tax year for the year ending 5th April 25. So the profits of the company is like 290,000. Based on these figures, the tax and NIC for Jazz and Malbec Limited for the year ending 5th April 2025 would be Jazz income tax 25375, employee class 1 NIC, Malbec Limited, employer class 1 NIC, and corporation tax 72,500. Um, Jazz has decided that he should start saving for his retirement. So he plans to make gross pension contributions of 25,000 before the end of the tax year 24-25. Jazz is considering two alternatives. One, Melbeck will make a pension contribution to the company pension scheme of 25. Option 1. Option 2, Melbeck will pay Jazz additional gross remuneration of 25 for the tax year 24-25, and Jazz will make a personal pension contribution of 25,000 gross. Okay. So he's like, I have to pay, I have decided that I will contribute 25,000 into the pensions. The 25, either it would be in the form of company will pay pension contribution of 25 to Melbic will pay Jazz additional gross remuneration of 25,000 for the tax year 24-25. Step 1. Step 2. Jazz will make a personal pension contribution of 25,000. Okay. So second alternative consists of, let's say, two steps. For each of the two alternatives of Jazz making a pension contribution, calculate revised figures for each of the four tax and NIC already calculated for the year ending 5th April 2025. So you are supposed to calculate income tax, employee class 1 NIC, hmm, already calculated income tax, employee class 1, employer class 1, corporation tax. Under the additional direct remuneration and personal pension contribution alternative, you are expected to produce full income tax and class 1 NIC computations. If applicable, you should state any of the four tax that NIC figures already calculated remain unchanged. So if you believe that any particular tax would remain unchanged, you need to call that out in particular. Okay. These type of questions are generally, whenever students read these type of questions, looks confusing in the first instance. I don't know why. Maybe that is due to the lack of practice. Otherwise, if you ask me, these are very interesting and very close to the reality type questions, because in reality, whenever we think about doing something, so there is not only income tax or NIC which impacts, there are multiple taxes which impacts. Okay. Mm, let's start this. Mm, company pension scheme. Or you can, if you want to keep any other suitable name, you can keep any other suitable name. Okay. Um, point number one, income tax liability remain unchanged at 25375. 25375 because the pension contribution is an exempt benefit. I'm writing it in a way, exactly in a way where you should follow in the exam. Okay. Second, the class 1 NIC for both Jazz and Melbeck Limited remain unchanged at 1794 and 3574 respectively as pension contribution by employer is third. Melbeck, would there be any change in corporation tax liability? If you ask me, the answer is yes. Why there will be change in corporation tax liability? Because company is making pension contribution, means company is incurring expense. As the expense will go up, profit will go down. Profit will go down. There will be reduction in tax. Okay. So from that perspective, if you ask me, would there be any change in tax expense? The answer is yes for the company. Melbic Limited revised corporation tax liability will be, first, we need to check one thing. Uh, if I look 725,000, I'm just checking at my own, like that I'll delete it. 725, 72,500 divided by company's profit are 290,000, right? So if I look in percentage terms, I can see the profit is exactly the tax is exactly 25%. Why it is 25%? Because I can see that the trading income of the company is like above the upper limit, which is like 250,000, right? So from that perspective, if you ask me, mm, revised profits 290,000 minus 25,000, it's like 66250. Again, be clear with the instructions of the examiner. Examiner didn't ask you to calculate the tax saving. Examiner has asked you to calculate the revised tax liability. Okay. So revised tax liability. So I'm done with alternate one. Now, if I look towards alternate two is alternate two. Mm, alternate two is like additional salary and calculate revised figure. So again, if you look into the requirement very carefully, the requirement categorically asks you to calculate revised figure. Requirement doesn't ask you to calculate the tax savings. So I will just make a revised set of calculations. That's it. I'm not going to make the comparison or to make a decision like this option is better, this option is not better type of stuff. Um, Now, if I look into note one under the additional director remuneration option, and personal pension contribution alternative, you are expected to produce income, full income tax and employee class 1 NIC computation. If I look into the note, the examiner didn't expect me to prepare the full corporation tax computation. It only talked about income tax and NIC. So income tax and NIC, I need to make a proper device calculation. Okay. Mm, salary. Here I'm writing in bracket for your reference only. Already he has a salary of 35. He will take more salary of 25. So dividends by the amount. total income. Less let's keep this space for 20. This is space for 40. Adjusted net income. So adjusted net income is like net income of 130 minus personal pension, gifted donation gross amount, right? Uh, income limit for standard personal allowance, income limit for a standard income limit for a standard personal allowance is 100,000. Excess of any over limit, 105 minus 100,000, 5,000. Personal allowance taper by excess divided by 2 or excess multiply by 50%, whatever you feel comfortable. Available personal allowance. So the personal allowance normally is 12,570 minus 2,500. So this is the available personal allowance. Now I am like the personal allowance should be taxable income I'll be needing some more space. This is fine. This is now fine. Okay. Normally, the basic rate band is like 37. Basic rate band. Basic rate band standard is 37,700. High rate band standard is till 125140. The basic rate band will be extended by 25. So the basic rate band would be 62,700. High rate band would also be extended by this. So it's 62,700 is like till basic rate, right? So 4933. Basic rate band is extended till 627,700. 62,700. Now, for sorry. Now, dividend exemption. Dividend exemption. Then, how much space is available in basic rate band? So, basic rate band is still 62,700. Out of this, 49,330 is covered, 500 is covered, so it's 12,770, which falls in the basic rate. Now, if I look basic rate of tax 8.75, so then how much of dividend is left? 70,000 is the total dividend, of which 500 in the basic rate. Sorry, 0%, 12,770 in basic rate. So this is the amount of dividend which is in the high rate, and the high rate of dividend is like 33.75. So 33.75%. And if I make a sum, this sum is like my revised income tax liability. Right. I'm taking just a pause of a minute. Any question from anyone? Like, is there anything which is not clear, which requires explanation, clarification? Thanks. Now I'm going to work on um, class 1 NICs. Um, employee jazz NIC. So NIC for jazz would be 50, it's crossing 50270. 12,570, 0%. 50270 minus 12,570. The rate was, sorry, 8% and then 2%. Mm, his revised salary was 60 minus revised mm, employer Melbeck Limited NIC. The employer Melbeck Limited NIC would be 9101 above 9101. And the percentage was 13.8%. So, here is the memory test. We discussed at time of reading the question, NIC employment allowance would not be available. Now, it's a matter of question, how many keep this point in mind, how many would not? Mm, revised corporation tax. Um, Original profits are like 290,000, less increase in salary, salary, less increase in class 1 employer NIC. Class 1 employer NIC is an expense, right? Minus 3,574. So I am like the 290,000 is already after accounting for the salary of 35 and the class 1 employer NIC of 3,574 as per the question. But if we increase the salary, the class 1 employer NIC will also increase. So effectively it's 3,450. So the revised profits is still more than 250,000. That's why directly applying the 25% rate of tax. Under this alternative, jazz income tax, mm, These are the revised results. So I'm done with the questions. If there is anything to ask, is there anything to ask? Just a sec. Sorry, I missed to see the comment. Thanks. Uh, I'm moving forward to the next question. Next question. Anya is employed by Zenith Limited and she also has some trading profits and property income. She also has some trading profits and property income. Okay, fine. The following information is available for the tax year 24-25. What information is available? Employment with Zenith Limited. Anya received a gross annual salary of 70,000. Okay. So she's getting salary of 70,000. From 1st October 24, Zenith Limited provide Anya with a living accommodation. Now, again, my guidance would remain on those lines as well. How to pick up the data while reading the question. From this line, I am like, uh, it gives me a very clear message that this house is not available throughout the year. It is only available for some months of the year. Okay. The company purchased the property in 2010 for 100,000. Its market value on 1st October 24 was 250,000. Since the purchase price of the property is like more than 75,000, hence we have the concept of expensive accommodation benefit. Since it's already more than 6 months, 6 years to purchase the property, hence we have to use the market value, not the original cost to calculate the expensive accommodation benefit. A further 4,000 was spent on improving the property in November 2024. Since already 6 years, we are taking up the market value. Hence, improvement amount is irrelevant. The annual value of the property is 6,700. The living accommodation is not job related. So if not job related, so it will be taxable. Zenith Limited purchased furniture for living accommodations during August 24 at a cost of 14,000. Fine. Uh, ex- Furniture usage benefit would remain for the number of months Anya was living in the property. Anya paid professional subscription of 280 and subscription to a health club of 650. Neither of these subscriptions were reimbursed by Zenith Limited. The professional subscription was to an HMRC approved professional body directly related to her employment duties, and she uses the health club to meet clients of Zenith Limited. For point number 4, while reading, this should be in your mind that professional subscription of 280, uh, this is an deduction from employment income, and the health club element, it looks to me, I'm not sure. Expenses which are wholly exclusively necessarily for the performance of duties are allowed to be deducted. From this simple line, I am unable to establish these three facts, and since I'm unable to establish these three facts, hence I'm not going to say that it's a deduction from employment income. Okay. Self-employment. In addition to her employment income, Anya started a business selling craft products. She spent 750 on advertising in March 24, which include 100 spent on lunch for potential suppliers, then began trading as sole trader from 1st June 2024. $750. Advertisement. Is it allowed expense? Yes, pre-trading expenses are allowed. But of them, 100. Is this allowed expense which belongs to the lunch to suppliers? The answer is no. Okay. Anya purchased a car on 15 June 2024 for 11,500, which used 60% for business purpose. The car has 47 gram per kilometer. During the tax year, Anya drove a total of 23,000 miles in this car and incurred motor expense of 2,300. Anya decided to claim the flat rate mileage allowance in respect of the car. In the 10 months from 1st June to 31st March, Anya made a total cash sales of 9750. Okay. Anya rent out a furnished room in her main residence. Um, she received monthly rent of 800 throughout the tax year 24-25 and paid expenses of 275 a month in relation to the room that was rented out. Anya always uses the most beneficial basis to calculate her taxable property income. So, while reading this point, the first thing which I noticed, and you guys should also notice, is furnished room in her main residence. This thing triggers or refers to the concept of rent a room relief. Like she can claim relief, she can claim relief, she can claim expenses, whatever she want to claim, right? So we need to look, we need to decide what will be beneficial. Just FYI, expenses as mentioned are 275, whereas if I think about rent a room relief, so the rent a room relief is like 7,500. So I hope we can make a simple mental maths a logical point. Like what option is beneficial for Anya? Is it beneficial to go for relief, or is it beneficial to go for expenses? So, and I hope we are already very well aware and very well understand this thing, that for Anya, the better would be to go for the better would be to go for relief instead of expenses, because the relief is like 7,500 per annum and expenses are only 275 a month. 275 a month means if I make multiply with 12 as well, let's say, with I'm not using calculator at the moment, I'm keeping high level. It will not be more than 3,500, right? Hence, very clearly claiming the relief is beneficial as compared to claim of expenses, right? With this, I'm going to start solving the question. I'm done discussing with this. Let me look into the requirement, please. There are two requirements. Calculate Anya taxable income. You should indicate zero by any item which do not which are not taxable or deductible. It means that you have to consider each and every point, and if you believe that there is anything where which should not be included, then we are supposed to consider that amount as a zero. Okay. Anya, taxable income for 24-25. Employment income, trading income, whatever is total income would be net income. And taxable income is the thing which examiner asked me to calculate, right? While calculating employment income. Salary, it is 70,000. After salary, expensive accommodation benefit, multiply by official rate of interest, The house was occupied from October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March, 6 months. After accommodation, expensive accommodation benefit, accommodation benefit is since cost is more than 6 years old. Maybe I'll put in a note. Accommodation benefit done. After accommodation benefit, furniture usage benefit, probably one of the most straightforward thing. Then subscription of professional association paid by ANIA, subscription of I'm taking a minute pause for your review and question if any. Um, in case no question, I'd really love to move forward so that we will be able to. No question? Okay. Subscription of health club. So like as discussed while reading the question, since I'm unable to establish the fact that it is wholly exclusively necessarily for the performance of duties, hence I'm not going to deduct it. Okay. So as per the examiner, anything which you are considering and anything which you are not so considering, it's fine. You are making some calculation for it. But if you are not considering anything due to any particular reason, like we have a reason for not considering improvement, so that needs to be called out. For health club, not sure it is wholly, exclusively, and necessarily for performance of duties. Hence, not deducted from I'm done with the employment income. After employment income, now I'm going to look for the second category, which is trading income. Self-employed trading income. If I look, think about trading income. If I think about trading income, mm, sales 9750, expenses, mm, 750 minus 100. So advertisement, motor expenses, I will deduct the motor expense. And by the way, when we are claiming motor expense in such situation, um, cost of purchasing motor car, owning motor car, these type of things are not allowed to be deducted, right? Huh. So let me calculate it. Mm, motor expense, approved mileage allowance payments. Business mileage, 60% for business purpose. Then, while claiming AMAP, cost of owning, cost of running and owning motor car is ignored. So I'm just mentioning, like, it's not like I have not considered the CO2, the purchase price, uh, the motor expenses amount. So I am mentioning while claiming AMAP, the cost of running cost and the capital cost both are ignored. Okay. So in from the examination perspective, yes, you need to demonstrate that yes, you are aware. It's not like you are omitting this. You are aware and you are intentionally not considering that. Okay. Um, Property income. From the property income perspective, rental income. Rental income is by the amount. So just let me check. 3,300. Expenses of 275 per month, 3,300 per annum is less than relief amount. Hence, claiming rent a room relief of 7,500 is, again, like I said earlier, it's part of the answer. These pointers are part of the answer. Employment income, um, oh, trading profits, property income. Again, taking a couple of minutes pause for your feedback. Any point if not clear? throughout the question. By the way, this requirement A is for 11 marks. I'm not sure, so I'm not done. There must be some requirement B as well, right? Right. Going forward, calculate the amount of income tax that Anya saved for the tax year 24-25 by choosing to claim the flat rate. Sorry. Thanks, Shakita. Calculate the amount of income tax that Anya saved for the tax year 24-25 by choosing to claim the flat rate instead of capital allowance. I'm not sure how many of you guys are clear with the requirement, but if you ask me to explain the requirement, there are two options with respect to the purchase cost of motor car. Option one, you can claim capital allowance, running cost normally. Option two, you can claim the approved mileage allowance payment. Calculate the amount of income tax that Anya saved. Obviously, from both the methods, answer would not be same. Answer would be some different. If answer would be some different, so basically that difference is being asked in this requirement. How much tax Anya saved? So I can tell from my own the way question is drafted. Capital allowance would be lower, motor expenses would be lower, and the approved mileage allowance payment which we calculated would be higher. Expense increase means profit down means tax reduced. And maybe this is to be precise the thing which is being asked in this question, right? So income tax saved in 2024-25 by claiming approved mileage allowance payment. If claimed capital allowances, then there will be capital allowance for sure. The purchase price 11,500 into 18% into 10 upon 12. 1725 WDA is at the rate 18% due to CO2. Then 10 months due to accounting period and 60% is business use. Okay. Motor expenses, 2300 multiplied by 60% would be allowed expense. As a result, in that situation, total deduction would have been, if claimed AMAP, mm, no, let's write it as deductions under AMAP. So what are the amount of deductions under AMAP? So if I go back, the deductions under AMAP were by the amount 5450, right? 5450. Mm, deductions under, so what is the amount of excess deduction under AMAP? 3035. Anya is, I can tell you this is its own type kind of paper, which, not paper, question, which was never ever examined before. I cannot give a comment like it will not happen again. Uh, can be. Um, I'm done. Are you clear, by the way? Mm. Okay, thanks. Let's move forward. This scenario relates to two requirements. Wow. You are a trainee chartered certified accountant. Your manager has asked you to review the draft corporation tax computation prepared by finance director of Apex Limited for the year ended 31st March 2025. The finance director is new to the role and has made several errors. Okay. Apex Limited corporation tax computation for the year ended 31st March 2025 draft. Trading profit, working one. Dividends received from 30% shareholding in UK company, 2250. Taxable profits, mhm, mm, corporation tax at the rate 25%. So this is what I was thinking, like taxable profits are um less than 250. So there should be a taper relief. Workings provided by finance director. Trading profit, operating profit, depreciation, donation to national charity, professional fees, legal fees, acquisition of new 6-year lease, new 6-year lease. So I can tell it's a short lease, but is it a renewal? Because only renewal of short lease is allowed expense. It's not a renewal, right? Client entertainment, overseas client, staff Christmas party, capital allowances, trading profit. In addition to legal fees, a premium of 24,000 was paid at the acquisition for the acquisition of a 6-year lease on an office building that was used in the trade from 1st January 25. The lease premium has not been included in the operating profit figure or the calculation of trading profit above. Should it be considered? The answer is yes. It should be considered under the category of lease premium amortization expense. Needs to be incorporated. Then, capital allowances. Tax written down value brought forward, main pool 15,300. Nothing brought down in private use card, nothing brought down in uh, special rate. Additions, new office building, integral features, note 1. New car for finance director, note 2. WDA at 18% for main pool. WDF at 18% for private use car into 20% and special rate pool at the rate 6%. The new office building integral features uh, were acquired and bought into use on 1st July 2024. So fine. Second, the car has CO2 emissions of 55 gram per kilometer. Oh, in that case, the capital allowance on car should be 6%. It should not be 18%. It was purchased for use by finance director and 20% of the mileage is for private journeys. Should this be car be recorded as privately used asset? The answer is no, because for companies, there is no such concept as privately used asset. Finance director is also employee for the company, and for employees, we do not make such distinction of business use or private use. The distinction of business use and private use is only made for the if any asset is privately used by the owner, not for the employee of the entity, right? So that is why uh, it should not be considered. There should be no distinction of business private use, even if the car is used by the finance director. Okay, so I'm done reading the question. Now, if I look, uh, I'm done reading the question. Now, if I look the requirements, prepare a revised corporation tax computation for Apex Limited for the year ended 31st March 25. You should indicate by the use of zero any item in the computation of trading profit for which no adjustment is required. Okay. Mm, I hope you would be in a position to make a mind map how this question should be approached or how this question should be addressed. So if you ask me, if you take my feedback on this, ideally we should make a pro forma in the first instance, and after making a pro forma, we should continue. Okay. Like Apex Limited. Interesting thing, it's the year end. So we are talking about complete year. So first thing, I'm aware trading profit from this line, I can say that there will be qualifying charitable donation, right? Add augmented profits. I can say from my experience, it would be 25% less. I'm not sure what was that error was. Trading profit. I started my working by a trading profit. Operating profit, 137,000. Add donation to national charity. Add. Mm, mm. Legal fees for then entertainment of supplier. Not allowed. Client entertainment. Client entertainment. Not allowed. Staff. Christmas party. Allowed because it is like gift benefit to employee. Lease premium. If I look into the note, the lease premium was 24,000. N minus one. N is like 6. Mm, Lease premium amortization 21,600 divided by 6. Mm, business use of building started from capital allowance. So if I talk about capital allowance, main pool, special rate pool, and the third column is for allowances. Um, I try to use the similar words TW, DV brought forward. TWDV brought forward is just a sec. Main pool brought down is SRP brought down nil. Then car after car second. Integral features of the building. Mm, nothing further. Mm, text written down value carried forward. So the total capital allowances amount this, and as a result, oh, mm, Augmented profit. So if I consider the augmented profit, then the rate of tax should be 25%. Marginal relief would be 3 upon 200. Upper limit minus augmented profits multiplied by taxable divided by augmented profits. As a result, revised corporation tax liability would be 33607. Now, if I were to pick this overall calculation, one four two double nine six 140746 divided by 142. So this is how it, again, this is only for your reference. It's not part of the answer. So I'm done with part A of the requirement, which is like to calculate the revised corporation tax liability, indicating by the use of zero any item which do not require adjustment. I try my best to show the maximum amount. Uh, I try my best to cover the maximum explanations as well where necessary, right? Uh, if there is any question till yet, uh, do let me know. Let me take a pause before I go ahead. No question? That's good to hear. So we are done with the requirement for 12 marks. Let's look what's remaining for the rest of 3 marks. Just maybe a minute before I start the discussion for rest of the 3 marks. Mm, Perfect. So I'm heading towards the part B of the requirement. Advise the finance director of the following. The due date for the submission of Apex Limited Corporation tax return for the year ended 31st March 2005. So what is the due date for the tax return for of the Apex Limited for the year ended 31st March 2025? First. Second, the deadline to amend this corporation tax return after filing. Third, the deadline for HMRC to give notice to compliance check into this return, assuming the return is not submitted late. Okay. Um, while answering this type of question, one important thing is please keep marking 1, 2, 3. The year end is 31st March. What's the due date? It's 12 months after the year end date. So the corporation tax return must be submitted by IE within 12 months from end of accounting period. Apex Limited, the deadline to amend. The Apex Limited can amend the return within 12 months of the filing due date, i.e. by 31st March 2027. HMRC must issue notice within 12 months of the actual delivery or submission of the tax return. Simple. Like we can articulate, but if I exclude articulation element, these are pretty much straightforward one-liner requirements. And like, in articulation, I covered a complete line. Otherwise, if not, then I can give their answer in, let's say, one word even. So from that perspective, I'm like, let's keep it precise, concise, not very long. Okay. So I'm done. Now, any question from your side? Anything you want to ask? Perfect. Um, Thank you very much. So if no more question, I'm done with my target. Thanks for the support. Uh, it's really good to attempt these type of questions. I not attempted the uh, question 1, question 2, sorry, section A, section B with you guys. I request you to attempt it at your own. And if you have any type of question, any type of query, please feel free to reach out. We try my best. We try our best to respond at earliest. Uh, in the meanwhile, best of luck for the exams. Uh, be confident and make your own strategy. Which section should be attempted first? Either it should be section A or section B or section C. It's you need to plan. There is no standard guideline. There is no standard format that A should be attempted first or B should be attempted first or C should be attempted first. You can attempt whatever you want to attempt in the first instance. Okay, that's the one piece of advice. During the exam, be confident. Underconfidence, what if you head towards underconfidence? Whatever you know, you will miss that. If you become overconfident, oh, this is like piece of cake. Oh, that's not easy peasy lemon squeezy. If you follow starting that type of approach, I can tell whatever you can do rightly, you will be doing wrong due to your casual attitude element. So, with respect to paper, do take care of these couple of things. Um, at the day of paper, like while on the way to the exam center, just before entering into the exam, from my side, one piece of advice: do look for at least one thing. And what's the thing which you need to look is the exam rates and tables. Because if you look these 3 marks, these are like whatever you articulate. If you mention the date rightly, you will get the marks. If you mention the date wrongly, you will not get the marks. So for these type of questions, articulation is the last thing. The first important thing is whether you have mentioned the exact answer rightly, yes, no. This is very well already available in the time limit and election date notes or handout. So I hope you guys have it. If not, drop me a note. I'll share with you. Okay. Um, so these are tiny, toony pieces of advice from my side. Do attempt all of the mock papers, and while attempting the mock, do decide your strategy as well, what you are supposed to do in the first instance in the paper. That's it from my side. Best of luck. Now, if there is anything further anyone want to ask, I am happy to hear, happy to answer. Otherwise, if no more questions, then I'm good to end the exam. I've already ended it. Uh, do let me know. I will save the PDF and share its answer. For sure, feel free to reach out. Thank you very much. Again, have a nice day and best of luck for the exams. Thank you very much.